On November 4th, 2023 at 3:03 a.m. Eastern U.S. time, calculate that for your own time zone, Saturn, the stern teacher of the zodiac, Father Time and Lord of Karma, stations direct in watery Pisces. This has always been a bit of an odd pairing because Saturn represents structures and top-down authority, tradition. Even though Saturn rules Capricorn, which is an earth sign, it's a very practical earth sign, one that likes to have things kind of chop and let's get things done. What's the timing? Pisces is very flowy. It's a water sign. It's the last sign of the zodiac, the sign of the collective, and really ruled by spirituality and the emotions. So Saturn is not super comfortable here in the first place. Saturn Retrograde, which Saturn has been since June 17th of this year, has been even weirder. If you've noticed that we've kind of been rudderless in terms of leadership in our world, that's Saturn Retrograde in Pisces. Always when Saturn is in Pisces, there tends to be kind of a dissolution, a dissolving of authoritarian structures. But we're seeing that extra this year with the retrograde period of Saturn in Pisces. So on November 4th, Saturn kind of rights the ship. It's still moving through these emotional, spiritual waters that feel kind of weird to Father Time, but we may see that things start to at least take a little bit of a form as opposed to the formlessness that we've been kind of surreally swimming in all this time. So in terms of who this is most going to affect, if you've got something in very early Pisces, this is going to be a direct hit. Anytime that an outer planet or even like Saturn or Jupiter, slower moving planet, stations direct or retrograde, it amplifies for that time period the energies of that planet. So early Pisces, any early mutable sign, so Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, also any very late fixed sign, so especially if you have something in very late Aquarius, late Leo, late Taurus, or late Scorpio, you're going to feel this more than most, but this is a collective transit, so we're all going to feel it. In terms of when to look back towards of like what might we expect for this energy, we want to look to when Saturn very first entered Pisces on March 7th, because that's in the same degree as what we're experiencing when Saturn stations direct. So Saturn moved all the way up to 7 degrees 12 minutes Pisces, stationed retrograde on June 17th, and now is almost back to 00 Pisces. So very early Pisces we're looking at. The Sabian symbol for the direct degree is Pisces 1, because we round up. In a crowded marketplace, farmers and middlemen display a great variety of products. The process of commingling and interchange, which at all levels demonstrates the health of a community. So we've been seeing kind of some rockiness in our supply chain still. We've been seeing rockiness in the economy just with a lot of people kind of struggling right now with high taxes, with lower incomes, just a lot of strain in that area. We may find that there's a bit of more positive news as Saturn stations direct. One of the things that is just kind of freaky to me, but this is just the world of synchronicity. And again, Saturn rules time. And so when you put Saturn in Pisces, you tend to get an uptick of synchronicities. But I kept thinking about how we might be likely to see more evidence of the fairy realm showing up, like tangible fairies making their appearance in waking normal reality. And I've mentioned this in a few different videos, but Lately, I have been hearing from people literally all over the world, people in Finland, people in Ireland, Tahoe, about seeing the Amanita muscara or fly agaric mushrooms that are most associated with the fairy realm, just seeing record numbers and record sizes of these mushrooms. So that was kind of already on my radar, but recently, my husband and I went to kind of an art studio tour in our local area. And after we went to the last studio, one of the artists said, "Oh, by the way, you should go behind my van and you can check out the fly agaric mushrooms. I've never seen this many." So we went. I'm showing a picture here of just how large they were, like the size of my hand, and how many there were in this patch. So that alone was cool because it was like, oh wow, the fairy realm is showing up here. That's the mushroom most associated with the fairy realm. And then when David and I got back home the very next day, he found 13 more of the fly agaric mushrooms in our backyard. So lots of fairy stuff happening. But on top of that, I have a portal that I painted. So I always have this door in the background in my office, but I've got door portals all over the house that I've painted. And I'm going to put up this one. It was door number 17. I painted this in February of 2014. And it represents Ellen of the Ways, who is a star goddess associated with ley lines and the reindeer ways, the reindeer pathways, the reindeer people that would follow her guidance on where to find the reindeer with whom they had a close relationship. So anyway, this door, which was intended for sustainable sovereignty, it was intended to help support finding a way through a seemingly impossible situation. The quote on the bottom of that door ties into the Sabian symbol of Saturn stationing direct in Pisces. It's the Rumi poem from Thousands of Rose Gardens, and it's just 4 lines quoted from the poem. The intellect says, "The 6 directions are limits. There is no way out." Love says, "There is a way. I have traveled it thousands of times." The intellect saw a market and started to haggle. Love saw thousands of markets beyond that market. And at the bottom of this door are all of these fly agaric mushrooms. And so to me, that's a way that I notice when my portals are active in life. It's like, oh, this is up. The magic of this intention is playing out in the world right now. And in that Pisces Sabian symbol, in a crowded marketplace, farmers and middlemen display a great variety of products. We're back to this idea of like products on display, this marketplace, but with this Saturn and Pisces energy that seems to be helping to bring other timelines into existence, more of like a nebulous realm, more of a fairy realm, kind of showing up in the form of these fly agaric mushrooms that are just popping up all over the place. People who've never seen them before are finding not just 1 or 2, but just like whole bunch of them and really big. So there is this reminder that you don't need to haggle. Pisces is the sign of unconditional compassion. It's the highest form of love. And so, yes, there are other options available, and they might even be kind of impossible seeming options. We had that recent eclipse with the Sabian symbol of the cantilever bridge going across a deep gorge. And again, there's this sense of things that seem impossible, but finding a way through, whether that's a portal door that like opens the way for you, or you momentarily step into another dimension while all hell breaks loose in this one, or you just are living from a place where magic happens all around you. These things are available at this time, and you don't have to haggle for them. You don't have to have this kind of grasping, desperate energy. They are available from a place of love and creativity and delight. So this could be a positive time period with Saturn stationing direct in Pisces. We've taken some internal energy. We've taken this kind of meditative time period period since June to really look at ourselves, to look at what's happening in this world and what would we like to see happening in this world. So a few good tips for when Saturn has that extra energy of stationing direct in Pisces. It's a good time to meditate. If you have not been keeping a dream journal, this is a good time to start. Use this as a time period to say, okay, I'm going to get a little more organized with my nighttime downloads, because Pisces is the sign of dreams and Saturn is one of the organizers. And so if you record your dreams, if you use them to start to create a different kind of foundation for you, maybe a more inspired foundation for your life, you're going to reap benefits for that. Now, if you have your own natal Saturn in Pisces, you will be undergoing, or you've already started undergoing, your Saturn return. That tends to amplify the energies of Saturn. It calls us to mature with Saturn in Pisces. It also calls us to mature in the spiritual realm and in the emotional realm. So if you've got any planets from, say, 0 to 7 degrees Pisces, you've already had 2 pass-throughs of Saturn, as Saturn moved from 0 to 7 back to 0, and then Saturn will move there again, will not retrograde back that far next year. The furthest back that Saturn will get next year is around 12 degrees Pisces, and Saturn will get to about 19 Pisces in the direct phase next year. So just giving you some windows. Again, if you've got mutable signs and you have planets in those degrees, you're going to be more impacted. So 0 to 19 degrees, you're going to be most impacted going into 2024. But again, all of this is collective as well. This is a time of opportunity. This is a time to kind of relax some of maybe those more rigid ideas of time and timing and possibility, to start tracking synchronicities, to look for other realms, to look for other inspiration, and to really work to anchor that energy into your life. It could create a lot of openings for us. And in a world where all of the older structures seem to be failing and falling apart and disappointing and lying and creating disillusion, why wouldn't you take this time period to implement something better? Saturn is also the builder. Saturn has his checklist, and he goes through it to make sure that things can actually work, to make sure that you have strong foundations. So with the old dissolving, we have a real opportunity to bring something new into being that is much more inspired. All right, until next time, you guys build well, create well, and bring those dreams to life. All right, take care.